Dahu versus Apex. If you haven't seen my first video about how we got into the boots in the first place and just the general pros and cons of these versus a traditional boot, go watch that. But right now we're gonna compare Dahu to Apex. My wife with the white boots over here, Apex user. She liked them so much that I got sold on the same type of function, but I ended up with Dahu for a couple different reasons. And I just wanted to share that with you because there's been a lot of questions, people looking at the different options. So let's start with the Apex. The main thing that I think you'll notice right away is that the shell of the Apex, right? Let me take this one apart. Only really clips into the toe and hugs the back, the rear of the boot. So here's the boot. Actually, it looks a lot like a snowboard boot. I recently saw somebody post online that they've been able to wear their Apex ski boot as a snowboard boot. So that's one pro, I would say. You would not recommend that with the Dahu boot, but the Apex inner boot is really actually kind of stiff, all things considered. They use a boa cable to ratchet everything down and make it tight, right around your foot to begin with, and then really the shell here is nothing more but something to keep the boot strapped into the ski. Most of the structure really comes from the inner boot itself. So let's take apart the Dahu here, which is going to be quite a bit different. So here you can see, the plastic actually comes, the shell comes all the way around the front, the sides, and that is going to be a little bit harder to get it in and out of the shell, but they did a great job of just making a perfect complete fit between the shell and the boot. If you want to hear more info about different ways to get these in and out, you have to have it on your foot or out of the shell to boot up, all that type of stuff covered in the first video as well. But, so here is the boot separated from the shell, and you can see it's not even close to the same design. Again, the Dahu shell wraps all the way around the toe box, plastic up the front and the shin of the boot, and the inner boot really is shaped perfectly with this harder shell. So the shell provides most of the performance and stability, and a lot more like a traditional boot than the Apex would. If you're, for some reason, wanting to look for style, or do you look cool walking around town? If I put this on my foot, put my pants down, it actually looks kind of like a designer boot. I don't think that should be your primary selling factor, but they do look nice. But you can see just how soft the boot here actually is, which is again way different than the Apex. And I think that helps really get your foot closer to the supporting structure of the plastic shell on the outside, and probably part of what makes it a little more performance based. The bottom sole of the boot actually has these channels and grooves in here that marry up with grooves in the shell. So I don't know if that's laterally or what you described that, but basically that helps keep the boot perfectly and very strongly connected with the base at all times. Warmness. My wife and I have skied in 10 below weather. I would say that these are probably just as warm as the Apex. her toes get cold at 10 below. My toes get a little bit cold as well. So I don't think there's any major difference there. Darker colors, always better for staying warm versus white. Just a reminder to ladies out there. It seems like women's boots are always a white color for some reason. But she'll actually wear like the neoprene boot socks over top of her toes sometimes when she's skiing. So that's really, I don't know, like I said, the primary difference is it's a completely different shell system. Lacing, BOA on here, these are a cold lace. I'll throw this on again. Let's see real quick. Just snug that up, pull down that, wrap them up, tuck your extra lace in this little stretchy pocket up here, and you're good to go. So yeah, Dahu versus Apex. I really like my Dahus. I was going to choose again. I would personally go with Dahu over Apex. Other people that I've known and talked to, they've been super happy with them. I don't know if anybody who's personally skied on both. But again, you know, my wife really loves her Apex boots. She has some larger calves and just, you know, needs to make sure that her circulation can move around. So having more of an open front on her binding, it's not bad either. If I had to weigh these, you know, they feel pretty close actually. The Apex might be slightly heavier. This is some sort of, almost feels like metal, but it's a really hard plastic, I think. So yeah, if there's any other questions, post in the chat and I'll try and make a follow-up video and answer whatever you might have.